One sentence. Why are you too lazy to do the dishes? Can ruin an entire friendship or relationship. I'm Bruce Lambert with more than 35 years of experience teaching communication skills. And in this video, I'm going to teach you a simple 3-step cycle that can diffuse the vast majority of conflicts before they start. And be sure to stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to show you the right way and the wrong way to do it in the exact words that you can start to use immediately. Welcome to How Communication Works. This is a channel where I teach you about communication skills so you can improve your relationships, succeed at work, and be more confident. The methods I'm going to talk about in this video for avoiding conflict were developed by psychologists John and Julie Gottman in their famous Marriage Lab, which was an apartment that they fitted out with cameras where they invited newlyweds and other couples in. And in that lab, they learned a lot of what predicts either successful relationships or unsuccessful relationships. And I'm going to talk about 3 particular key concepts that help you avoid conflict. One of the things that the Gottmans discovered in the Marriage Lab was the harsh startup. The harsh startup is when you begin a difficult interaction, normally with a criticism or with sarcasm or with contempt or with eye rolling. One of these ways is a very bitter, angry way to start up a conversation. So that's why when I started the video, I said, "Why are you so lazy that you can't ever do the dishes?" The opposite of a harsh startup is a soft startup. And one of the keys to a soft startup is starting with a description or a complaint, but not a criticism. And the key difference between a complaint and a criticism is a complaint describes a state of affairs that you're unhappy with. Something like, "The dishes are always dirty when you're done cooking, and it really makes me frustrated to come home to a sink full of dirty dishes." That's a complaint. So the complaint focuses on the situation. A criticism is an attack on the other person's character. So that's something like, "Why are you so lazy that you can't do the dishes?" So it's not really about the dishes then, it's about the other person's flawed character. And a criticism is the classic example of a harsh startup, which we want to avoid. By the way, if you like my style of teaching, I'm developing a course on listening called The Listening Leap. And there's a link in the end screen and the description and the pinned comment to download a 10-page PDF listening guide and learn more about this upcoming course. So in the context of the dishes example with your roommate, a harsh startup will be something like, "Bro, you're disgusting." That's a criticism of the person that barely even mentions the dishes. The soft startup is something like, "It really stresses me out when I come home and you've been in the kitchen and the sink is full of dirty dishes." That's a description without a criticism of the other person's character. That's a soft startup, and it's one of the 3 keys to avoiding conflict. In a romantic situation, on date night, it might be something like, "You're always late. You're so selfish." That's the harsh startup. An alternative might be something like, "I felt disappointed and frustrated tonight waiting for you when we had plans at 7 o'clock. Can't we set a time that we can both agree on and then stick to it?" Again, this is a complaint. It definitely says something about the other person's behavior that you weren't satisfied with and that upset you, but it doesn't go on to attack their character. So it's much easier for the other person to respond without getting defensive when they haven't been called selfish. So one formula that the Gottmans give for a soft startup is, "I feel blank about blank, and I'd like you to do X." So it's like, "I feel frustrated about the dirty dishes, and I'd like you to do your dishes when you're done in the kitchen." Or, "I feel disappointed every time you're late for our dates when we've agreed upon a time, and I need you to show up on time and be more punctual." That's the formula for a soft startup. The formula for a harsh startup, if you really need one, is criticize the other person's character. So if you want to destroy a relationship, start off by criticizing their character, rolling your eyes, being sarcastic. That'll destroy the relationship really effectively. The second skill is rapid repair. All of us have difficult interactions, and all of us have interactions that kind of break down. They don't go the way we wanted them to go. They descend into conflict or kind of bitter disagreement or misunderstanding. So the key to making our relationships work smoothly and successfully is being able to quickly repair things when they've gone off track. So a repair is any move that de-escalates the negativity. It could be a quick apology, use of humor, or even just a physical reset of going into a different room, taking a short break. All of these things tend to bring down the temperature, de-escalate the conflict, and give you a chance to start again. It could be as simple as touching your friend or your partner, especially if it's a romantic partner, or making a little joke, something like that. All these things can initiate a repair. And the Gottmans found that successful couples initiated something like 4 repairs per conflict interaction. And repair attempts also correlated with lower blood pressure during these conflicting interactions. So an example in a work context of initiating a repair would be something like, you get a message in the morning that you're late on a particular deadline, and you reply all to everyone that says, oh yeah, I'm sure we're going to be on time on this next deadline, just with sarcasm and negativity. You realize later that that was not a constructive way to reply, and it probably just made all of your colleagues angry at you and made you look bad. So you can say later in a direct message, or even replying back to everyone else, oh, my bad, I typed that message before I had any coffee. Here's the information that you needed. So this is a repair attempt. It basically acknowledges that you behaved a little bit badly, and it shows that you're interested in getting back on track. Most of the time, if you have decent relationships with your friends or romantic partners or colleagues, they'll welcome the repair attempt. All of us make these kinds of mistakes, and a repair attempt shows you're operating in good faith, that you're human and you make mistakes, but you're willing to rapidly try to fix things. The third skill is turning towards your friend or partner when they make bids for attention. So this idea of a bid is a central idea in the Gottman's theory of relationships. A bid is just any attempt by one person in the relationship to get the attention and acknowledgement and sometimes the approval or recognition of their conversational partner. It could be something as simple as you send them a TikTok video that you liked, or you kind of look over them and try to catch their attention, or you reach out your hand. Any of these can be a bid for attention, a bid for affection. It's a request to connect. And in healthy relationships, the vast majority of bids are accepted. Basically, they ask for attention or acceptance or approval or recognition, and you give it. So that's the idea of a bid. The key relational skill is to accept these bids. And what the Gottmans learned is that as relationships fall apart and disintegrate and decay, and as the relationship approaches a dissolution, people stop reciprocating the bids. So one partner makes a bid, they put out their hand, or they seem to want a kiss or a hug, or they want just a smile, or they send a text message or a funny video, and there's silence. The bid is not acknowledged. The bid is refused. And probably all of you have been on the receiving end of, you've made a bid, you can feel things are going badly in the relationship, and you make a bid for their attention or affection or connection or approval, and they just don't reciprocate. There's this great song by Loudon Wainwright. It's called The End Has Begun, and it's about how you can feel when a relationship is ending. And I think one of the clearest signals that a relationship is ending is when you make a bid for attention or affection or recognition, and it's not reciprocated. So the opposite of this is doing your best to be on the lookout for bids, to make bids yourself, and then to reciprocate and acknowledge any bid that your partner makes to you. Just to give you a little factoid, the Gottmans found that couples who divorce after 6 years turn towards each other on only 33% of the bids. That's 2/3 of the time a partner makes a bid and the other ignores it. Whereas happy couples turn towards each other or acknowledge 85% of the bids. This just shows you how much of a difference accepting these bids can make in a relationship. So how can we put this all together in 5 steps? First of all, be able to identify these triggers. Realize when the tension or irritation is rising and know that you have to be on the lookout to use these skills. Second, use a soft startup. Avoid criticism, avoid sarcasm, avoid contempt, avoid eye rolling, avoid attacks on people's character. You can make complaints describing the situation that you don't like, describing the need that's unmet, asking for what you need. That's fine, but avoid those other harsh startup characteristics. Next, watch for the physiological signs in yourself, which is like increasing heart rate, feeling your muscles tense up, sweating, blushing, anything that you know is a sign that you're getting overly agitated. And then when that happens, try to drop a repair attempt. And then always be on the lookout for bids. Be scanning to see if your partner in the conversation or the relationship is bidding for your attention or affection or recognition. And when they are, reciprocate. Acknowledge the bid and give them what they're asking for. So here's a challenge for you in your relationships or in your friendships. In the next 24 hours, try to use each of these skills at least once. The soft startup, the rapid repair, and the accepting of the bids, and see which one you do most easily and see which one is most difficult. And let me know in the comments. So that's it. 3 proven steps that can help you avoid conflict before it starts, or reduce the intensity of the conflict once it's already started. I hope you'll give them a try. I think you'll find they're very effective. And if you like my style of teaching, I'm developing a listening course called The Listening Leap. There's a link to a 10-page PDF listening guide in the description and in the pinned comment and in the end screen. I hope you'll check it out. I think you'll find it to be very useful in developing your listening skills.